Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the new edition of 1NG Podcast. I am your host, Chef B. As always, do me a favor if you haven't already. Please follow me on X/Twitter at 1NG underscore podcast. That's 1NG underscore podcast. Also, now available on YouTube and other platforms where you get all your podcast needs. Now, let's get into the show. All right, Panther Nation and my fellow Panther fans. Football is back in full swing, the real deal Holyfield, and I am excited. Well, kinda, sorta, but honestly, a little deflated to recap this loss. First, the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, it's like every year we get hyped up for week one, thinking this is the season things turn around. But here we are again, staring at another double-digit L to kick things off. It's almost like a bad habit that you can't shake off. But hey, that's where I come in, and I'm here to break it all down, vent a little, and figure out what we need to do to move forward. But in today's episode, I'll dive deep into the week one struggle in Jacksonville with a bunch of key takes and obs, and yeah, a heavy dose on Bryce Young's continued nightmares. So buckle up and get ready, because if you're a BY9 stan, this will not be the episode for you. I'm putting the microscope on Bryce's poor performance, and the numbers don't lie. So let's talk Panthers shop. And real quick before we jump in, a quick shout out to all my loyal listeners who've been riding with me since the early days. Y'all really keep me going through these rough starts. So, the Carolina Panthers took on the Jacksonville Jaguars Sunday, September 7th at 1 p.m. in Jacksonville, Florida, losing 26-10 in typical week one fashion by getting beat by double digits. The fourth straight year we've dropped the opener like this and have been outscored 97-30 in Bryce's 3 starts now. So let's take a look at the stats before we move into the key takes and obs. I'll read them slow so we can really digest how lopsided this was. So, box score time. First downs. Panthers 15, Jaguars 19. Not a huge gap, but they converted better. Passing first downs. 8 for us, 9 for them. Rushing first downs. 5 for the Panthers, 10 for the Jags. And that right there already tells you where the game was lost on the ground. But we're going to get into all that, don't you worry. First down from penalties, we got 2. They got 0. Third down efficiency, we were 8 for 15. That's not awful at all. That's about 53%, where the Jaguars were 5 for 12 on third downs and still won the game. So this is why I like to break down the stats, because it tells a story, not the whole story, but it gives you a really good idea where things kind of went wrong or went right. Fourth down, 0 for 2 for the Carolina Panthers, 2 for 2 for Jacksonville. And I've said it in later pods that if you go for it on fourth down, that's probably not a good thing. But if you're able to convert your fourth downs, you're doing something right. But moving on, total plays, we had 61 total plays. The Jaguars had 63. So far, just from these brief little quick stat line, we're looking at a pretty even game. So what happened here? How did we lose by double digits? Well, we're going to get to that. Total yards, 255 for us, 378 for them. That's a 123-yard deficit if you're counting at home. That clearly shows we couldn't move the chains consistently. Yards per play, 4.2 versus a 6.0. Efficiency was not our friend this game, folks. And don't worry, we're going to break down all of this and get into all that right here in a moment. Passing yards, we netted 142 for the Panthers, where the Jaguars had only 178, so not much more. Completion and attempts, Bryce went 18 for 35. That's under 52%. And Trevor Lawrence went 19 for 31. Absolutely crazy. 19 for 31. And I'm sorry, and his yards per pass was 3.9. Ours was 3.9 versus theirs being 5.7. So, big issue of mine with this scheme and what Dave Canales is doing is that we don't take the deep shots, and we all know that, and everybody can contest to that. And, I'm not going to get into the schematics about it right now, but a quick tidbit on it. We are throwing less than 4 yards per pass. I don't even know what we're doing right now. That is ridiculous. But moving on. Interceptions. Well, here's where we start to see where the game was lost. We gave up 2 interceptions, and we only got 1 ourselves. So 2 by the Panthers, 1 by the Jaguars. Sacks. Here we go. We took 1 sack for 12 yards. We had 0 sacks. We had no pressure. And folks, if you don't remember, last year this was a huge issue. We were ranked dead last in pressure rates. But moving on. Rushing yards, we had 113 for us, and that's not bad. Decent for week 1. I would like to see a little bit more. I'd like to see a little more usage out of Chuba, but we kind of gave up on the run game early, obviously, because we went down, but we're going to get into all that. And then, meanwhile, Jacksonville sitting on a 200 rushing yards. And again, like I said, we're going to circle back to all that. Don't you worry. Our red zone, absolutely brutal. 0 for 1. We could not punch it in, and they went 2 for 5. Another area of struggle that we've had for many years, red zone efficiency. So before I continue on, already we're seeing almost the same exact issues from last year, this year, with personnel changes, with new players, with semi-adjusted schematic changes. And we're looking almost just as bad on defense, in a sense. So, moving on, turnovers were 3-1. We gave up 3. They only gave up 1. And folks, I'm going to tell you right now, that's where the game was lost, okay? That's where the game was lost. When you don't protect the ball and you turn over the ball and the other team capitalizes on it, and I say this all the time because you can get turnovers, but if you don't convert those turnovers into points, it almost doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter. It's a great stat to have, but if you're not capitalizing on them and converting that into points, it does not matter. And that's exactly what happened with Jacksonville. They converted those turnovers into points, and that's why we lost the game. But moving on, fumbles lost. We had 1. They had 0. So again, this is what I'm talking about. Turnovers, protecting the ball, something Dave Canales preaches mightily, and we're still not doing it. So, time of possession, my holy grail. I'll always hang my hat on this. This is what wins you games, time of possession, and we did not win time of possession. We had 29 minutes of time, which is absolutely shocking, and they had 31. But again, it was close, but they controlled the clock when it mattered. And folks, you control the ball, you control the clock, you control the game. And yes, before we move on, like I said, I'm not here to knock Bryce Young, but I'm putting the microscope on it. Because I'll tell you right now, I am sick and tired of hearing all these excuses for a first overall pick that we traded the freaking keys to the city to acquire. And this man has done nothing, absolutely nothing to deserve all this credit and praise, even during poor performances. We are so quick to point the finger at Austin Corbett or Xavier Legette or whoever else on this team, but the man that is literally making the decisions and causing the turnovers. So before I even break this all down, if you watch the press conferences, right, which I do, obviously, because I do the podcast and I want to be very informative, Dave Canales even said after watching the tape from week 1, that pick that he threw to Xavier Legette when it got tipped from the safety, what did Dave Canales say? Quote, unquote, Bryce should have seen the safety. That's on Bryce. Oh, the 4th and 1 that we didn't make a decision even though we had JT Sanders coming on a drag/crosser route, wide open, throw it away on 4th and 1? What are we doing? Like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to hear it anymore, folks. You want to live in some fantasy world where you can go to work every day, not perform, and get praised? That's a joke. That is an absolute joke. And I'm sorry, especially when you're a top guy that we gave almost everything. It set us back 5-10 years to get this guy, and he ain't doing jack diddly. So you got me all the way messed up. I'm going to try not to curse on this episode, but you got me all the way messed up if you think this guy's going to skate out here and we're just all going to, Austin Corbett was just snapping the ball high. Xavier Legette should have came back. It's never Bryce's fault. It's never his fault. The dude literally can hand the defense the ball, and somehow it's somebody else's fault. Make this shit make sense. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. This dude is not performing to the standard or level that we drafted him at. Get over it. He's not going to be what we need him to be. And it's clearly evident. And I got the stats here to prove it. He had a couple of good games towards the end of the season last year, sure. And I've gave him credit for that. I've 100% give him credit for that. But let's be honest about it. These games were all garbage time. And we all know Bryce Young is the king of garbage time. This guy is literally the Tom Brady of garbage time, 100%. Absolutely. He's out there doing all this stuff during garbage time, but when the game matters and still is on the line, you're invisible. You're invisible. You're a shadow of yourself. And I love hearing these comments about Bryce Young winning at the highest level. Really? Alabama won the BCS championship with him? Oh, yeah, they did not. They did not. The dude won a Heisman a popularity contest. Ooh, wow, you're the most popular guy in college. Congratulations. That doesn't translate to shit. That translates to jack diddly shit. What have you done in the NFL, sir? Nothing. Nothing. Except set my fucking franchise back 10 years because the guys upstairs that are making the fucking decisions, who are brain dead, thought it was a good idea. Unbelievable. I can't take these excuses anymore, but I'm done with it. I'm done with it. And I know these stats are a tough pill to swallow, Panther fan, but guess what? It's the real deal. And to put this into context, with last year, we were rock bottom in total offense at 280 yards per game and 31st in scoring with just 13.9 points a game. That's ridiculous. But this guy's a superstar, right? Yeah, miss me with that. Oh, it's a team game. Da 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 da. Yeah? Well, what about Cam Newton? What about Cam Newton? What team did he have? And I'm talking to Panther fans directly because if you ask anybody else, all of a sudden we had the best defense to ever roam the planet, you know what I mean, in 2015, even though we all know the answer to that was Denver. But anyways, what help did Cam have offensively? Nothing. The dude literally was 70% of EPA in 2015, meaning he was 70% of the offense. Running, passing, touchdowns, everything. The dude carried the team, literally, offensively. But this guy gets zero respect. Zero type of, we don't have this, he never got none of that. And this dude got us to a Super Bowl. This dude gave us 15 wins in a 16-game season. Blowing team. We're winning games by halftime. But all we want to talk about with Cam Newton is, oh, he dressed funny. What's up with his hats? Cut that right out. Cut that noise right out of here, bro. But this guy, he ain't even doing nothing. He's out there watching the mini games on the Jumbotron when we're down, and we're not even questioning it. Like, man, I'm so over this, but this BS. So I'm here to put it on the map. I'm here to put it on the map. And I don't care if you don't like me, you think I don't know nothing about ball. Yeah, whatever, buddy. Whatever, buddy. You're taking takes from guys that can't run down the street to save their lives. But you never played football a day in your life. Oh, yeah, you don't know shit. You're one of these regurgitating ESPN wannabe guys that say all the nice things so everybody loves you. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to be that guy. And yes, I played a little nice for a little while because I was getting a lot of fucking shit for actually being honest, but I don't care anymore. This is real deal. This is what you're going to get moving forward. I'm not going to sugarcoat this shit no more. Believe that. So, like I said, only 13 points a pop. This game was 255 yards and 10 points. It's like a copy and paste on the struggles. No explosiveness, no sustained drives. It feels like we're still shaking off that 2-15 rust from 2023. I mean, come on. Like, what are we talking about right now? So anyways, let me digress. Let's pause for a quick second. Go grab some coffee or whatever you're sipping on. All right, because we're about to go deep on this offense. And I'm going to start with the elephant in the room. Like I said already, Bryce. So, I'm not going to hold back here. Clearly, I haven't, but this was a poor outing, completing just 18 of 35 passes for 154 yards, one touchdown, two interceptions, and a fumble, resulting in a rock bottom 49.0 passer rating. But somehow he has zero fault in this whole charade. Ridiculous. And like I said, if you watch the press conferences, even Dave Canales said Bryce needs to be better. He needs to be held accountable. But nobody in this fan base seems to want to do that. So I got a dose for you. Don't you worry. And again, that's the kind of stat line that some are questioning if he's even the guy, especially in week one, when you want to set the tone. Like, come on, folks. We are all tired of losing, right? And especially in this kind of fashion. Zero offense. Nobody looks good. The guy that everybody loves Raymond here. You know what I mean? Can't do anything wrong. Ho, ho, ho. Dude's trash. I don't care what anybody says. He has done Jack Diddley squizzot. But anyways, like I said, you want to set the tone in week one. 3 turnovers, bringing his career week one total to 7 turnovers against just 3 touchdowns. So 7 picks and 3 touchdowns is literally this dude's stat line for his last 3 openers. So let's revert to some of the play-by-play stuff that, kind of illustrates how everything folded out. So we had some bright spots. Chuba Hubbard, decent. He had 57 yards on the ground, ripped off some chunk plays. Looked good. As soon after that weather delay happened, that's when things kind of got ugly. So I'll be perfectly honest with you. The first quarter of the game, I was very happy with the first quarter of the game. I know it was a little slower, not everybody's kind of cup of tea, but both teams had 13 plays. Jaguars went 13 plays for 55 yards, kicked the field goal. We went 13 plays for 41 yards, kicked the field goal. Not too bad. So then second quarter comes, they come out, they only go 3 plays for 5 yards. We get the first 3 and out of the game, and they punt the ball. And then what happened from there? Well, we go 2 plays. Now, mind you, it's tied game, 3-3, went 3 and out. They stopped them. Our defense did. We get the ball. We have a great run from Chuba Hubbard up the middle for 9 yards, 2nd and 1. What happens on 2nd and 1? Pass right, short, intended for Xavier Legette, intercepted from the tip, right? So there you go. And what happens after they make this interception? Well, they go down and score a touchdown because they had 8 plays to go, 35 yards. So after our defense does their job, our offense does not do their job. And the guy you want to act like is Tom Brady's the second coming of Patty Mahomes and whoever else goes out there and throws a bad ball, also stated by our head coach, who, mind you, is a professional coach and gets paid to coach an NFL team, said that was on him. Not trying to say anything here, but keep taking takes from the guys that can't run down the street to save their lives. Keep doing that. That sounds good. Never played ball in their life. Keep doing that. But yeah, that's what we got going on. Interception. After our defense does their job. Interception. They go down. They run the ball 7 yards, run the ball, then a touchdown to no other than Hunter Long, the 6-yard touchdown. So what do we do right after that? Well, we come out, we have 9 plays for 39 yards, mind you, absolutely pathetic, and then we go ahead and punt the ball. And then what happens? Jacksonville gets the ball. 4 plays, 91 yards. That's when ETN on the Jaguars takes it for a big play and does his thing. So, he didn't score on it, but he definitely had a good run. And that's exactly my point, is that you don't turn over the ball because it's a momentum killer. Momentum is a real thing. And especially when you go and your defense does their job, stops them 3 and out, we go out and we do not help our defense. So what this means is we did not play complementary football. That's what we need to do. We have to play complementary football. We can't expect our defense to win the game every game. That's what we were doing last year. It did not work out. We cannot expect only the defense to win the game, only the offense to win a game. It has to be complementary. And when you go out there, turn over the ball in your own zone, mind you, when we are in our own territory and we're giving them very short field position for them to go and execute and score, especially on a defense that's already going to be kind of suspect, what are we talking about? Literally. What are we talking about? You can't do that. Your defense is coming off one of the worst performances in history of the NFL. You cannot expect them to win the game for you. You have to go out there and prove that you have what it takes to run this offense and make things happen. And we did not. We did not until it was garbage time, which he's the king of garbage time. That's what I'm saying. So there we go. That's what happened, folks. We lost the game to poor decisions and not taking care of the ball. We did not protect the ball. Bryce did not protect the ball. He turned over the ball. I don't care if he was pressured. I don't care if Leggett didn't come back for it. This guy is not a year one nor year two. You're just going on your third season now. You should know if the safety's coming down, throw it away. Or it was what was that play? 2nd and 1. You could have ran it for the 1 yard. Or that 4th and 1 play where he throws it away. You could have ran it. Take the hit. Or hit JT right there on the drag route. Bro, you kidding me? Oh my God. And the fact that we're still just glazing this guy? You gotta be kidding me right now. I mean, you really have to be kidding me right now. And not for nothing, let's see. What do we got here? And his past openers, to show this just ain't a one-off and it's a pattern that's got to end. In 2023, week 1 against the Falcons, he went 20 for 38 and had 146 yards on 38 attempts. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Sound familiar? Absolutely. 2024 gets even uglier. 13 for 30, 161 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 47-10 blowout. Are you kidding me? Bro, his week 1 stats are a dismal 51 for 103. That's a 49.5 completion percentage, 460 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 6 INTs with at least 1 fumble lost. That's 7 turnovers and 3 openers, but this is the guy. This is the guy. Yeah, that's more picks than a guitar solo, folks. What are we talking about right now? But here's the thing, Bryce did show growth after last year, and I'll agree that, especially after he got benched. Wonder why he got benched? Because he's not performing well. But whatever, Dave Canales is the bad guy. No, he's not. And we're going to get to him too, don't worry. But he came back with a 90.25 rating over his final 10 starts with 15 TDs and just 6 picks, plus 5 rushing scores. So not bad, totaling 2,400 passing yards. So there's some tape of definitely him playing okay. But let's be honest, folks, that's not good enough. It's not. It's 100% not good enough. And okay, he's got time to develop. How much time does he need to develop? We didn't take him first overall for him to take 5 years to develop. Are you kidding me? We didn't trade away the keys to the city for this kid to have 5 rookie seasons. And then for us to finally start saying, oh, I don't know here. But these openers are terrible. They're straight sabotage. All right. And his CPOE here was negative 13.1. Negative 13.1. I mean, overall, way below expected, but he was solid on quick passes, 11 for 15, 92 yards, which was a plus 0.7 CPOE, compared to much longer throws, which is why I say he can't throw the deep ball. A completion percentage, much lower, which is 7 for 20 for 62 yards. He's 7 for 20 on 62 yards on deep balls, folks. He can't throw the ball deep. Numbers are right here, and that's a negative 23.5 CPOE. What is a CPOE, you ask? CPOE stands for completion percentage over expected. And as the name suggests, it measures how much higher or lower a quarterback's completion percentage is relative to what we expected it to be based on the types of passes they attempted. Okay? Negative. Your boy is a negative. So there you go. Kids got to stop hero balling deep and lean on the short stuff because that's all he can do. That's all he can do. He's a dink and dunk guy, and he's not even a dink and dunk guy. You know what I mean? Good Lord. But anyways, and if he doesn't turn this around, folks, we are in for a long season. So let that marinate for a minute. You know what I mean? What do you guys think? Let me know. I know I went off on Bryce. I apologize. Not really. Honestly, I don't care. If you don't like it, that's too bad because I'm just telling you the truth. But I would like to hear from you folks. Let me know. Let me know how bad I'm tearing them up because I love it, honestly. I absolutely love it. I think I need to be tearing them up more, to be quite honest. So I do like that 100%. But anyways, also Bryce Young's EPA per dropback in week 1 of the 2025 NFL season was negative 0.27. But, it was everybody else's fault. So the offense in general started promising, with the Hubbard runs, sparked the plug, 57 rushing yards and a TD catch. But that was at garbage time. And it all fell apart. We had some penalties. We had a lot of drops. We had some miscues. And I'm not going to sit here and say it was all on Bryce. What I'm saying is that he is no longer allowed the allowances. You're in year 3. You don't throw the ball away on 4th and 1. If the safety's coming down, you either get the first down or throw it away then on 2nd and 1, not on 4th and 1. Okay? You have to play smarter. This guy was known for his processing, his ability to dissect things quickly and get the ball out fast. Yeah, we're not seeing that. S2 test, ring a bell, the thing that doesn't even matter. But like I said, there was obviously some miscues there. The pass catching was hit or miss. I'm not going to put that on Bryce. He did put a couple balls on guys that they could have caught, and they did not. But again, that's going to fall on coaching, which I'm going to get to here. But just everything was too inconsistent. And I'm sorry, we didn't trade the house to get Xavier Legette. We didn't trade the house to get T-Mac. We didn't trade the house to get Adam Thielen, even though he's not on a team anymore. We didn't trade everything away to get those guys. Matter of fact, anybody really, except Bryce Young. So best believe I'm on his ass, and he better start performing. Or guess what? I'm going to have more episodes like this calling him out because I'm tired of hearing this shit. I really am. But anyways, let's shift gears to the defense because I don't want to make this a whole podcast about Bryce Young, even though I could. Shifting gears to the defense, and oh boy, the run defense woes were on full display. A straight continuation from the 2024 disaster class, where the Panthers were the worst defense in history as far as points go. But the Panthers allowed 200 rushing yards, with Travis Etienne alone accounting for 143. I mean, he was cutting up that front seven like Swiss cheese, and I don't even understand how because, we have Derek Brown back. We have the additions that we made, and I felt like we should have been a little better, even though we were, if we take away that 71-yard run by Etienne. Defense, as far as run goes, we did okay. Not going to lie. But the missed tackle by Nick Scott, honestly, the fact that he's even out there brings a lot of glaring questions to the coaching staff. The fact that we're even allowing this guy out there is incredible. I would much rather take my chances with our rookies or Devontae Richardson. Like, what are we doing right now? But anyways, now to give some more ground on this, let's splash in basically how embarrassing this really was because the Jaguars are no juggernaut on the ground. At 24, they ranked 26 in the league, scraping together just 1,700 rushing yards over 17 games on 414 attempts. That's mediocre 4.2 yards and only 13 touchdowns total. TN, their lead back, had a down year with 150 carries and only 558 yards. The dude almost had 30% of that in one game and just 2 touchdowns. Unbelievable. So again, they weren't that great of a running team last year. And we were exposed. So for our defense to cough up 200 plus yards on a 6.3 yards per carry, what? It's almost like it's the same group. So again, this defense 100% is not off the hook, and I'm not saying that. My point is we can't expect the defense to do their job times 10, right? Especially a defense that was one of the worst defenses in the league last year. So yeah, I understand Vero having his job still, question mark. I don't know why Dave likes him so much. I mean, the scheme does not fit here in Carolina. Like, David Tepper wanted to run a 3-4 because that's what they did in Pittsburgh. We're not Pittsburgh, bro. We're not in that division. We are in a division that needs to run a 4-3. At least our team, because that's just what we're good at. That's just what we're known for. So that's what we need to stick to. Things that work. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know what we're doing, folks. Not that was fixed already, but you get what I'm saying here. But anyways, basically, we were dead last in allowing 139.8 yards per game in rushing. I mean, we had 200 plus rushing yards allowed in 7 games. This is absolutely ridiculous. And then the offseason fixes that I mentioned, like Turk Wharton and Bobby Brown, were supposed to plug these holes. Yeah, no, it didn't look good. And then the linebackers, Trevin Wallace and Christian Roseboom, man, I'm trying to tell you right now, they did not look good. And they look honestly lost in their assignments. And we were getting gashed by a team that couldn't run on anyone last year. And what happens against a real heavy rush squad when we actually play a team that's known for running the ball? We are going to get eaten up. But yeah, food for thought, folks. Let that sink in. Again, I'm not going to sit here and 100% say it was all Bryce's fault. What I'm saying is that he needs to be held accountable as well. 100%. The defense ain't off the hook. The coaching staff ain't off the hook. But we're going to be honest here. Bryce definitely ain't off the hook either. You can miss me with that. And I'm tired of hearing him being the only one that is off the hook. But even with that being said, we did have some bright spots, our rookie bright spots. Even amid the loss, we do have the highlights and positives here. Even in a beatdown, T-Mac, Tetaroa, McMillan led the team in targets and balled out with 5 catches for 68 yards, showing real promise as a go-to option. I absolutely love that. That's also the third most by a Panther player in their rookie debut. I mean, he's just got elite hands. His ball tracking and catch radius are out of control, and he had 83% snap share. So not bad. He could have had even more if the opportunities were cleaner. You know what I mean? So we played without Ike Ekwonu, obviously. So there was definitely some offensive line issues, some protection there. I'm not going to take Corbett off the hook here either. He did have some high snaps. It is a very rhythm-timed scheme. But even more so, that's going to go on to coaching, right? Like you said that Austin Corbett was going to be our week 1 starter, in Cleveland. And once again, I know there's a lot of talk about this too. We all want to dismiss the preseason, but bro, this is what the preseason's for. This is literally what the preseason is for. You can miss me with other teams don't play their starters and they do just fine. Teams like the Rams. Oh yeah, the Rams who've won a Super Bowl, who had success of recent. Yeah, go shocker. I mean, I wouldn't expect teams that had recent success start their starters in the preseason game because they are meaningless. But when you're a team that has struggled for the past 7 years, I don't care if Dave Canales wasn't here, or Bryce Young wasn't here. None of that matters. The reality of the situation is we haven't done dog shit in 7 years. So everybody needs to get their ass out on that fucking field and play some fucking ball and show up, or you can get the fuck out because we're all tired of this bullshit. I want to see some fucking wins. I want to see a good product on that field. I am tired of this shit. We're sitting here missing on guys left and right. I'm doing analysis. I'm breaking it down. I'm telling you who to draft. Why the fuck did we take J.C. Horn when you have Patrick Surtain and Micah Parsons on the fucking board, bro? Let's be serious. Not a shot to J.C. Horn, but that's the decisions we're making as a franchise, folks. You got J.C. Horn on the board with Patrick Surtain and Micah Parsons. Who you taking? Exactly. Not J.C. Horn. Sorry, buddy. I love you. You're a great player, but you're not better than the other two I mentioned. Like, what are we doing here, man? Like, let's get this shit right. Get everybody on the field, get them the fucking reps, and get their asses into gear, because I'm tired of seeing a piss poor product. We look like we haven't practiced all fucking week. We're coming out there with miscues and all this other shit. You got me fucked up. Why are we dropping the ball? Yeah, that's a coaching thing, bro. That's a coaching thing. Get these guys on the fucking jugs machine. Get these guys prepared. They're not prepared, bro. That's why they're missing passes. That's why we're dropping balls. That's why we're snapping the ball high. That's why these things are happening. We're not fucking coaching them up right, bro. Dave Canales, I love him, and I've been very reserved on being critical of him because he had, I know he's new, but bro, enough with the fucking nice guy act. Grow a fucking nutsack, dude. And I need more Joey Gilbert vibes out there. Put your fucking foot in the ground and get after it. That's how he's talking to these guys. He got fucking Dave Canales over there handing out fucking Capri Suns and fucking orange slices on halftime. And if you fucking actually ever played football, you would know what I'm talking about. But anyways, this is what we're doing. These are the decisions that we're making, and this is what's fucking us up, y'all. I'm telling you. But anyways, back to what we're talking about. We do have a highlight in, T-Mac, which was absolutely nice. I do love that. And, he's going to be good for us. To be honest, I still would have liked a pass rusher in the first round over the wide receiver, but that's neither here nor there. I ain't going to get into all that. But our kicker, Ryan Fitzgerald, was money too. He was going perfect for especially hitting that 48-yarder to start. Legette started a little slow, but he was able to contribute a little bit. Obviously, McMillan looked good. Obviously, didn't drag his toe, XYZ. Now everybody's calling him Jonathan Mingo. It's hilarious. Anyways, We had a few highlights, not many. Basically, our rookie wide receiver and our rookie kicker. That's cool. And yeah, that's really all we had going for us. Like I said, Excel, obviously, he had a down game too, but he could hopefully come into that role that we really want to see him in. To be honest with you, I would like to see him in a slot. I think he needs to go to the slot. And then when Coker comes back, you put Coker as a Y and let Tet be the X. I'm telling you right now, that's going to be the move. But I'm not the coach. But anyways, and then obviously our defense was a big concern. Defense was definitely a big concern, 100%. All right. And my biggest concern is linebacker and safety. Diving deeper, Trevin Wallace, 86 snaps. Christian Roseboom, 100% snaps. Didn't have an outright atrocious game individually, but they were major culprits in this run defense failures. Poor gap integrity, slow reads, and then Nick flipping Scott. Literally, Jabril Peppers is sitting out there. Steelers sign him, and we got Nick Scott taking 100% of the snaps, folks. Once again, I watched the blueprint and I want to believe in this front office. Really, Dave. I believe in Dan, but Dan believes in Dave. So I got to believe in Dave. So really, I believe in Dave, especially when they're doing their roster breakdowns and they're really looking into all this. And to sit there and say that the scheme is okay, which has not been okay, and to sit there and look at our secondary and say Nick Scott's going to be the guy that starts, I'm questioning. I am head scratching and questioning exactly what we're doing. But he had many key missed tackles left and right, prompting fans to literally call for this dude's head. And I don't blame him. I'm right there with y'all. But Dermontti Richardson and Latham Ransom can get these reps. Like, what are we doing? Let's be smart about this. Nick Scott is dog water. He should be a rotational guy at best, really just over there coaching up the guys on the sideline, being a player coach type thing. That's all. That's all. Maybe having to come out if necessary. But other than that, keep that guy off the field, bro. He is a liability. Also, a spotlight. Jaycee Horn had that good one-handed interception, which wasn't bad. It's his 6th career pick. Dude's a stud, no doubt. Mike Jackson was locked in. He looked pretty good out there. He had some pass breakups, but he also had some, lapses in coverage too and some tackling miscues. But again, overall decent. Last year our pass D was average at best in the 22nd, range, allowing 227 yards per game. But the run defense obviously dragged us into a 32nd overall in total defense. So again, front seven doesn't tighten up, we're going to be toast. We are going to be toast. And I'll tell you right now, if we don't get this figured out, I said it already, we are going to be in for a long season, folks. So moving on, head coach Canales owned up on the post game, noting how turnovers and mistakes absolutely plagued the team after the weather delay. And after an hour of downtime, killed all their rhythm. Not that they really had much rhythm when that happened, because Jaguars scored, and then basically that's when the weather delay happened. But let's call it. Let's call it what it is. The play calling, questionable. Very questionable. Predictable run-the-run sequences on first and second downs that didn't really set anything up and didn't really give us good third down situations, right? Nothing explosive on third down as well, right? Where were those condensed formations? Where was this, those space creating plays? Didn't see them. Didn't really see them. And then our defensive coordinator, he's got to be filling the hot seat because, again, this is our 4th straight loss in our season opening. And again, like I said, we've been outscored 97-30. Okay. And, we just cannot figure out a way to get this going. So again, we got some coaches here. And as much as I don't want to sit here and bash Dave Canales, we got question marks here, buddy. Like, we have some question marks. The play calling is very questionable. Okay. And our ability to adjust to what the other team's doing is almost obsolete. And that's also an issue. That's been an issue for a long time too. But I was kind of hoping it with an offensive mind, a younger offensive minded guy, we would get these things cleaned up. But we did not. So, like I said, I've already gave our shout outs to our player spotlight there with T-Mac. He did his thing. Damian Lewis played pretty good. Robert Hunt played pretty good. Taylor Moton played pretty good. So, we had some guys play pretty good, but we didn't get the win. And at the end of the day, we want to win. We are done with the losses. So, wrapping this up here with some final thoughts on this blowout. Basically, turnovers. And I'm looking at you, Bryce. Run D as well. Looking at you. Execution across the board, not good. And this raises massive questions on Bryce Young's development, right? He was able to flash late in 2024, but these openers scream inconsistency. So I don't know what to say here anymore about this, folks. We can't keep coddling this kid. It's over. The microscope is out. But rookies like McMillan and Fitzgerald offer some hope. We're miles away from being competitive without making some fixes here. So we got to get this right. We really have to get this right. Okay. So improvements that we need to make heading into week 2. Priority 1, Bryce Young, protect the ball at all costs. Do not turn over that ball. If it's not there, take what the defense gives you or throw it away like you did on a 4th and 1, which I've never seen anybody do. But we need to channel that late 24 magic where you cut your turnovers and leaned on quick passes. That's what we need to do because that's his bread and butter. The dude can only throw 4 yards, clearly. But, anyways, O line, we need to keep cleaner pockets. We need to get better at our run blocking drills. And 100%, Bryce and Corbett need to be doing snaps together all week in practice this week. I want to see them snapping to each other, far, close, all that. I want to see them snapping and getting that cleaned up 100%. Then defensively, we got to shore up these run gaps. We need better gap discipline, right? We need to rotate our linebackers maybe a little more aggressively. And we need to blitz more. We don't blitz at all. So it's this the scheme is garbo. That defensive scheme is garbaggio. We need to go to a 4-3 yesterday. But anyways, but we also need to get the receivers involved a little earlier with screens and slants and mixing the play action off Chuba Hubbard, who quietly had 4.1 yards average last year and was a really good running back and is a good running back. So if Canales can diversify the play call, right, bring back that creative scheme we had from, the Seahawks days, and then overall clean up those self-inflicted wounds, we can kind of turn this around and look a little bit better like we did towards the end of last year. But I really feel like we can definitely compete if we make these changes. And again, Bryce becomes Bryce, right? He needs to become the person that I'm not even gonna say that y'all feel like he can be, because I don't see it. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for today's show. Definitely a deep dive. It's a tough one to swallow, but don't worry, we're all in this together. As always, stay safe and keep pounding. And your boy Chef B will be back next week for our week 2 recap versus the Arizona Cardinals. I'm out, y'all.